Just put your cameras on. So, I'm super excited for our next mentor to come on because this is repeat performance with us. So, um, Nick and I have known each other. God, I don't. It must be like 20 years now. We worked
At
together
least.
way back when, and there he is. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. His love and his passion. But uh, the reason why I invited him to come speak to you guys is because I think everyone can relate to this. You meet people, and we're all big. I'm a big first impression guy, and Nick is somebody. When I first met him 20 years ago, I'm like, holy crap, this guy is going to go places. He has got that grit, that toughness, that great personality, outgoing. He's got a positive attitude. He's just one of these rare people who just bring that energy every day. And I knew regardless of whatever path his life took him in, he was going to be successful. And sure enough, here he is 20 years later and absolutely kicking ass in his family life, in his business, and on the mats as well. So just super excited to have you back with us. Absolutely honored that you're able to come back. I just loved his story last time when he told Dick. I think there's so many incredible lessons for you guys to hear about his journey, the ups and downs of everything he went through. Um, and I'm gonna hand this off to Kylie. Nick, she's gonna MC because she's much better at this stuff, at asking all the questions, and so Kylie's going to take over from here, and then we'll go with Nick, and then we'll break for lunch when he's done. Take it away,
Yeah,
Kylie.
thanks, Jordy. You're always a big confidence boost. We appreciate it. It reverberates, the energy coming off of you. So thank you.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I met Nick for the first time, I think last week or the week before now, and I feel the exact same way. I love the energy, and I'm super excited to have you here today. So, I just
Yeah,
kind of
thanks for
tell us
having me.
about yourself. Tell us your amazing story that Jory was talking about, where you're at now, kind of how you got to jiu-jitsu, a little bit of everything.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I guess I'll start from the beginning. Best place to start,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to chime in as I'm going through things. But yeah, going back where, Jordy mentioned we met 20 years ago. I had transferred to Western Connecticut State, which was right around the corner from where he was living, had the business and everything. And I went to just a marketing meeting, an American Association of Marketers. Jordy and his team was presenting, I think, just maybe a little bit of recruiting slash like, hey, let's get the name out there a bit for my sports dreams at good old MSD back in the day. And I was new to the area, new to the school, and I think we kind of hit it off right away. And I had the opportunity to start interning with them at the company. Did that for a couple of years, and then I think it was after my junior year, I decided to stay down in Connecticut. I grew up in the Boston area, so first summer staying away from home, out of college and everything. And we were able to work together. I was able to get into a full-time position at that point. And it just comes with, the little message I like to share along the side of that is like, just show up to all those random opportunities. When I showed up to this, it was like either a Thursday or Friday night in college. And I think I was the only one, maybe one other person had like popped in or something. And there was just like a handful of like adults in the room. So you never know when those little literally like doors are going to open for you. So, for the group here, you guys always keep your eyes open as to what opportunities might be out there. I came in as Pedro was kind of finishing up, and I thought he had a really cool sentiment of that, of like, you might walk into a door and it might be the wrong place. So you guys will hear how I kind of work through that a little bit. Something that resonated with me as I go through my career path here. Because again, I had the great opportunity to work with Jordy for my sports dreams for I think it was about 5 years when it was all said and done. Talking through things with the guys, we had the opportunity to they allowed me to work from home before work from home was a thing. My girlfriend and I at the time were moving down to Charlotte, North Carolina, just something to do after we were done with school and everything. New town, whatever. Let's see what happens. So yeah, had the opportunity to work from home at that point. Did that for about a year or so, still under Joy's leadership guidance with the company, and decided, hey, okay, I'm down here. I want to start branching out a little bit locally. So I had transitioned. This was a tough one to a life insurance sales position. It was American Income Life, and it was one of those positions where You walked into a room, it was a group interview, 30 people, and they pretty much hired almost anybody that did say yes after explaining everything that they had, because you had appointments set for you. It was selling to union members in North Carolina. I didn't know at the time that North Carolina is a right for work state, not too friendly to the unions. So it was a tough go of it, but it was something I did for about 9 months, just able to go in and out of people's homes, a lot of sales expertise. The manager of that agency was great. He's actually somebody I do stay in touch with. So as far as those connections that are there all over your life, always stay in touch with them. The role itself was not perfect for me anyways, for the lifestyle that I wanted. Man, driving all over the state for 12, 18 hours a day was not something I wanted to do long term after getting into it, I learned. But nonetheless, the manager of that office is still a good guy. We actually came full circle and we ended up, now we do a little jiu-jitsu together. So
Oh,
it's just really cool to have an experience around that side of things. And I guess, one thing to maybe preempt all this, my whole career has been around just like sales and business development. So this was something where I look back at, it really set the foundation for just kind of like how to sell. I got introduced to a lot of cool sales models, sales books, things like that, that I've carried along the way. Even though, again, the position didn't work out, it was a major learning experience for me. So it's another thing to kind of keep in mind as you guys are going through the different positions that you're looking at. I had one of our C-level guys kind of has a lunch and learn once a month, and he shared the sentiment around the idea of you're either learning or you're earning. Ideally, it should be both, right? You should always be learning no matter what you're doing, but you might find roles that, hey, you're just very qualified for, and they're going to pay you great, but you might not be learning a ton, which is kind of okay because you have that income coming into your pocket, which is it's fine as long as you start planning out what the next step might be, and you're still growing, and that's within the role itself. That's not to say that you're not learning elsewhere. You should always be chasing down different, courses. I mean, between Coursera, edX, there's so much. I mean, just YouTube itself. There's so much free online education for things that you guys might be interested in, no matter what field you're in. Nonetheless, I took that idea of, with everything along the lines of selling insurance. I decided I didn't want to be out on the road that much. So I was like, okay, let me find a somewhat normal office job. So I found a company that's unfortunately no longer around. They got bought out, but it was a marketing agency called Yodel, kind of a call center type place. It was awesome. It was helping small business owners with their digital marketing, setting up a simple website, helping with like their just Google ads, their SEO, just being found in that. So I was there for about 2 years, and that was somewhere where, and as I'm talking to people now, that's where I consider I got like my PhD in salesmanship. There was a lot of heavy scripting in there, but nonetheless, it was something where I was able to take those scripts, and I mean, this was 15 years ago. I still continue to take lines and ideas and the scripting model around that into what I now do, and I've implemented it at a couple different places. So again, that idea of continuously learning and building, and then that was a place where I was also able to make some decent income as well as a guy in my mid-20s at the time. What I did there, or the reason I left there was I joined a startup here in Charlotte. People have referred to Charlotte as Silicon South. As you can say, just a lot of just like tech buzz, entrepreneurs, stuff like that going on. So I kind of caught the buzz, decided to follow my manager from Yodel over to this little startup. It was set up in an incubator type building where it was just more or less, it wasn't necessarily like a warehouse, but it was like an old mill. It was repurposed and everything for offices. But it was basically like a curtain between offices. So, but the tech was really cool. The learning experience was really cool. That was, I can say 100% one of the situations where my earning was down here and my learning was up here.
yeah.
Just learning about all aspects of the business. I went from a normal, like, just, hey, I'm in an office, there's 300 other people here, I have scripts, I have all the tech, I know exactly where to find out all the answers. If I needed somebody, I could call the headquarters office, all that, down to, hey, there's 6 of us in a room, 2 of them are the co-founders, the other one's my former manager, not my manager again, and I'm just calling and setting appointments for this tech that I don't even really fully understand, but I got to figure out like who to sell it to, how to sell it, how to prospect, how to do everything, how to finagle the financial model, work on like, okay, this guest wants to, or this client wants to pay 2 years in full because they just really like it. This other one is very skeptical. So, hey, let's do a 60-day trial. They're really able to mold things in your own way. So, nonetheless, did that for about a year until they decided to, hey, we got to scrap this. It was just the two co-founders kind of took it upon themselves to kind of basically do a major pivot of the company. Kind of let everybody go. It is something I do kind of consider a blessing in disguise. Again, with that income down here and the learning up here, got to pay bills. So you got to protect your future. You got to everything. But as a young, relatively girlfriend, my life, no like financial, no one relying on me for. So I
Oh, I'm sorry to stop you for a sec, Nick. So
sure.
sorry to interrupt you. Your audio is super in and out right now. I didn't hear like probably the last 5 seconds of what you were just saying. It looks like
Oh man,
everybody else is kind of hearing it as
I'm
well.
sorry.
Oh, it
All
says
right.
your network
Is
bandwidth
it
is
coming through
low.
okay now? Oh boy.
It's coming
Oh,
through better now. Go ahead. Try it now.
yeah, you can go ahead now. It sounds like it's gonna come back through. I'll just kind of raise my hand up or something. Sorry.
Hey, sir, give me one of these. So yeah, I guess as I was saying, not sure where that got cut off, but with that everything going on within the startup, it wasn't earning much, and again was up here. But I did have that decided to kind of like shut down the sales operations there. Everything they kind of had gone, had myself proactively leaving that situation anytime soon. But I was forced out of it, which, it's something where it's never good to get fired or laid off or whatever. It was unexpected, but it's kind of just like you just kind of roll the punches, knowing that something else is going to be out there. I mean, it's huge to keep that positive mindset of like there is going to be something out there. That's where I think it's very important throughout your entire life to try to find an abundance mindset. If you say, hey, there's not a lot to go after, then you're not going to see a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
But if you keep your eyes open and you say, hey, there's a ton of opportunity out there, you're going to find those opportunities. They're going to be there. I see your hand going up. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it went up about 30 seconds ago. I think there might be a little bit of a delay.
Oh
Um,
boy.
we can hear you a lot better now.
Okay.
So keep talking. I think we're okay now.
All right. Just let me know if I need to back up at all or with anything.
Okay.
Um, but something I want to share after leaving that startup, I was able to loop back into some people, using my network of people that I'd known at Yodel to get back into kind of like that digital marketing space, helping out small business owners, getting away from like an enterprise SaaS solution down to, hey, let me just talk with a lot of individual small business owners. It was basically a competitor of Yodel, was headquartered here in Charlotte. I was able to join on with them, Town Square Interactive. So that way, I was able to just kind of, I don't want to say pick up where I left off at a different competitor, but I was able to take a lot of what I had at Yodel, bring it over to Town Square. And in that case, Town Square was very open. It was kind of just like, hey, here's our menu of products, website, some social media marketing, some Google ads, some SEO. So I almost took my previous script, modified it a little bit to make it relevant for Town Square specific and reworked that. Kind of caught on like wildfire within my team of like, all right, this guy like has a process in there. I mean, this is in Town Square Interactive, I should share as well. Like they're a publicly traded company at this point. So they didn't really have any much sales formality to things. So kind of blew my mind that like having like a game plan and taking this toolbox from another company and implementing at the new one was a very easy way to just make myself in the company, great impression. What's other something that I really, really need. At the same time, that one where about learning versus earning. Um, look at that as kind of a placeholder. It's kind of just for I want to share that where you are. If you're looking for
Nick, I'm sorry, your
yeah,
audio again is
so, oh,
completely out.
yeah, someone made the recommendation of turning off video. Let me try that. Let's see it. A video help you guys at all? Can you hear me?
A tiny bit, but not much.
Right. Should I just talk very
Oh,
slow and you guys can pick up on different words?
nope, that's we can hear everything now. So sorry to
Okay.
stop you again.
No, it might be on my end, and apologize for that. So I appreciate everyone's patience as we're working through our technical difficulties. Um, but yeah, all that to say, and I just got a message saying that my network is unstable. So
Yeah.
um, apologize, man. Alrighty. Well,
Yeah,
are you guys
thanks.
able to hear me okay as I'm talking through things right now?
Yep, we can hear you good now.
Okay, cool, cool. So with that, as I was leaving Town Square Interact, I'm another marketing agency who headquartered out in I thought they were setting up a office in Charlotte, so I put in the resume as quickly as possible with them. So I do wanted to the note I wanted to share around that transition from Town Square to where I was now joining Logic Position is along the way, if it's a spot that you don't absolutely love, don't be shy about peeking over the fence. Yes, there's the saying that the grass is always greener on the other side, because it's usually fertilized with BS. But it's just that idea of keeping your eyes open and being able to capitalize on the opportunities when they come up and making it very strategic and calculated along the way. So hedging your bets, if you will. This was one where before I even really took the consideration of leaving Town Square Interactive seriously, I did a ton of research on
Yeah.
this new company, Logical Position. Getting very deep into the weeds as far as connecting with people on LinkedIn, sending them messages. Not everybody was replying to me, but it was just like, hey, how do you like working there? And looking for people that were there for a year plus, both at the sales rep level and at the manager level to see, okay, like as a manager, what's it like? How do you manage? How do things go? To the
Mhm.
sales rep, hey, what are things internally? Hey, this is the job description. Does this match what the day to day is going to be? And again, a couple of people replied, and eventually I got to actually meet them in person once I was on board and everything, and very grateful for that. But basically, I was able to get very realistic expectations. So
Mhm.
all that to say, kind of again piggybacking off what Pedro was saying, where nothing's really permanent. 100% true. Nothing's permanent. No matter how stuck you might feel, there's always things to keep on, keeping your eyes open for and improving. I also want to note that can either be internal with the company that you're at or
Mhm.
external. So that's a piece of advice I want to share, or I should say, a piece of advice I want to share out to everyone here is when you're looking at roles on company websites, when you're looking at the Seven Eagle posting, whatever that description might be, when you're applying for that initial role, I would say do your best to stay within the confounds of what that role is asking for and apply for that role and understand that that's a need that the company has. So they're bringing somebody in to fill that immediate, probably long-term problem within the company where they need that person in there. Then once you get your foot in the door, once every company's different, obviously, but once you're a month in, 3 months in, maybe a year in, then you can start branching out and saying, okay, what other opportunities are here? As a
Mhm.
manager, as someone that's kind of like leading people along the way, it is very important that once you have your foot in the door, that you're doing that specific role as perfectly as possible and going above and beyond in every little way. So that when it comes time to say, hey, I know that other departments hiring and it would be a reach of a position for me, but I've been excelling with what I've been doing now. You've proven to number one yourself, but everyone else around you who might be making those decisions that you can take on more than the requirements, more than the minimum, if you will, and truly go above and beyond, and that you're able to do everything very well.
Yeah.
So that's something I always like to share with people when they're talking about like changing jobs, applying for jobs and all that. It's like, hey, is there anything else internally that could be really great. Something that you want to do. And also when you are applying to different roles, thinking about just getting your foot in the door of the company, this is something I kind of go back and forth on, because sometimes they don't know the problems that they have. But if you come with something completely off the wall of a need that they don't have at this point, they might not have budget for it to hire you, or to even entertain that type of questioning, or that inquisition as to what might be needed. So that's why I always err on the side of, hey, let's try to fill the initial need. Let's take care of that initial problem, and then we can again fix things once you have your foot in the door. So that idea of years and years ago, you talk about walking into a business, giving your resume to the person that's hiring. It's a long shot of an idea these days. But you need to be more cultivated in exactly what you're doing. And that goes with making sure that you have a custom CV, custom cover letter for every business, talking about how you're going to help with that specific role. You might want to drop some hints as how you think you can improve that, or if you see other postings, other needs that the company has, then referencing it in that. But really, talking through that when you get to like that interview level, for the bare bones, getting your foot in the door, I think adhering to the job posting itself is extremely important.
Yeah, note
I'm gonna
that.
take a quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna take a quick pause there to see if there were any like questions around that, and also just make sure my audio is good for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Raise your hand if you have a question. That was so much good knowledge in between the audio issues. I feel like I need another cup of coffee to keep up with your energy. You have great energy. That's it's super intriguing. So I love to hear it. I loved what you kept bringing the learning or earning back into it, which I think is such a good thing to live by. That's because everything we do in life, even outside of our careers, we are always doing one of those. And I feel like everybody on this call right now is in that learning stage. So we're really just trying to soak up all the knowledge from mentors like you until before we go out into the real world. So
Yeah, gladly. And actually to come back to one of Jordy's posts, I think it was last week, maybe the week before. I think you put out a survey of, hey, do you want like a 40K job where
yeah.
you're working 30 hours a week, maybe like a 100K job where you're 40, 50 hours a week, or like 300K and working like 70 hours a week. I want to encourage everyone in this group to reach for the stars. As far as the workload itself, thinking about like, okay, 300K, but working 70 hours, 80 hours, not having a lot of time outside of life, maybe that's something where like you're qualified for that position. Yeah, it might be a reach, but as long as you have a good communication with your family, the people around you, that, hey, we're going to be doing this for, I guess my thought is like, I would love that opportunity to do that for like 2 years, and then it's like, all right, I'm just going to cut it at that, because that's going to put a ton of money into my savings. I'm probably learning a lot while I'm doing those 70 hours. It depends on exactly what it is. But yeah, and like, with that, and I just saw the note pop up, yeah, 300K, but yeah, nothing to do to spend it. But that's why I think about it, short term. I know an argument can be made either way for either, any type of those positions. Again, it all comes down to personal preference. But that's something where you want to just make sure that you're setting up your own expectations around, and really, let's even take a step back. When you guys are going through your planning of what you want your life to look like, making sure that you're applying to roles that fit that. So again, everyone's going to have different preferences on what they might want or what they might need, and that's totally fine. Because if you think about, okay, I'm gonna suck it up for 2 years because I know that I want to start my own business. I want to, man, I want to get into recruiting and helping other people transition out of the military world, into the civilian life, or whatever it might be. There's a million examples of people that you sprint for a short amount of time, and then then you kind of pull back from that. On the flip side, yeah, hey, as long as with the, if you're working 30, 40 hours a week, where it's the work-life balance is very favorable towards that life balance, and your bills are paid and you're happy, you have good communication with, your significant other, and you're all in a good spot on that, and you're able to enjoy life, hey, by all means, go for it. It's, just, I wouldn't want to put anybody in too small of a box. Keep your options open. Maybe yeah, maybe it's something where you do that for a year. It all depends. But I just wanted to share that. I thought that was a very interesting concept. It wasn't something I had taken a step back and thought about in a very, very long time. So just wanted to put that out there. Like kind of the last part of my career journey I wanted to share with you guys. I got a little sidetracked there, I guess, but was my transition to my current role, which is with Quint. So this is something where, as I mentioned, I was with a lot of like marketing tech companies, really throughout my career. And then around the time when I was having my son, who will be 4 in December now, I started talking with one of my jiu-jitsu students, who is the now CEO of the company that I'm with. He was just, I guess, I don't want to say just the president, but his title was just president previously when I was originally like knew him and everything, but he walked through the jiu-jitsu gym actually as I was getting ready for my black belt. But we immediately clicked from a personality standpoint and from a just mentality standpoint. He was someone that very quickly turned into a mentor of mine, through the just like sales leadership, talking through different things because I was a sales manager at that time. And he was, looking back at it along the way, kind of dropping little hints here and there about, hey, we need a sales manager, we need something along those lines. So, throughout the course of the year, I would say he wore me down of sorts, if you will, until eventually I was just like, hey, can I grab a cup of coffee? I want to talk to you about transitioning and potentially, see if there's an opening for me at that company. It wasn't something where, almost going back on what I was saying with, fulfilling a role out there. There wasn't an official job posting for it, but it was something where they, through the conversations, and this is where, we always walk that line of fulfilling a role that might not be public, but through your network, you get hearsay of what people, what companies need because you're talking to people in your network. So the president, now CEO of the company, the guy that brought me into Quint, talked about there wasn't really a lot of sales leadership to say. Not to say that the leadership wasn't great and already in place, but basically there was the VP, then there was 40 sales reps across the company with no middle tier. So they needed to create an entry-level sales position and they needed somebody to manage them. So I started what's known as like a sales development representative role in itself. Became the manager for that, and then very quickly brought in someone to replace myself, and now became the senior director of sales here. So it's all that to say, you never know where mentors are going to pop up. You never know where opportunities are going to pop up. So always like kind of keep your eyes open for those different opportunities. And yeah, it might be outside of an industry that you're familiar with, but the role itself, the day to day, might be very, very applicable to the experience that you have and what you ultimately want to be doing. Because what we do is like hospitality events, Formula One, NBA, Barrett Jackson, Kentucky Derby, things like that. So making sure that your mindset is in the right place to say, okay, I can plug and play this system, my personality traits, and I'm just going to apply it to a different field. So there's a lot of different ways to go about that, but that's kind of just always building on what always growing. And yeah, just being confident in yourself as well. I think that's a huge point as well, is just being confident that who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Doing a personal SWOT analysis, I think, is extremely beneficial. Your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Hopefully there's not that threats column is pretty small, but recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, and then the opportunities that you can provide is very valuable.
Yeah, no, that is amazing knowledge. I was wondering if you wanted to try to put your camera back on. Your audio sounds super good now.
Sure.
Just so everyone can see. Hopefully, all right, give me a quick sentence. See how it.
Hello. You're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotten.
All right, perfect. You are sounding better. I will throw up a hand again if it sounds bad, and if I won't interrupt you. If you see my hand, just turn your video back off so we can hear all the awesome stuff you're saying.
Sure.
Talking about Quint, it sounds like they do some incredible work, like F1, Kentucky Derby, Super Bowl access. There's so many big names out there. For my first question is, how is it like working in a sales kind of environment that is so intense? And then my follow-up question is, how would somebody that is interested in doing something like that get into that field?
Yeah. So as far as I guess just like balancing it all, yeah, it's intense. And because what we do as Quint, we're actually owned by Liberty Media, who is the really the holding company for Formula One. That's how that relationship all comes to be. And I mean, that's why I have this big calendar behind me to just at least very vaguely keep track of when the events are, because we have over 100 events through all the partnerships throughout the year. So it's like we have the USGP race coming up next week in Austin, Texas. It's a huge race for us. It was actually the pilot program of everything within Formula One. We did just that race before the formal partnership and expanding to the entire calendar. Man, just balancing that. I mean, I personally, I meditate. I have the Balance app. I know there's a million different things out there. Do a little bit of meditation in the morning. With my martial arts background, everything within jiu-jitsu, being able to breathe and keep a level head. Also, if I have kind of a rough day, there's my outlet to go and beat someone up, I guess, if needed. Or get beaten up, all the same. It's a good adrenaline dump. It helps you clear your head. But yeah, just taking very diligent notes, I think is very important. I have terrible handwriting, but I like to use OneNote as a tool, so I try to type it as best I can. And yeah, just keeping your wits when just there's chaos going on. We're actually heading into probably our biggest revenue week of the year coming up next week, where if anyone's familiar with Paddock Club or with Formula One, excuse me, our Paddock Club release happens next week. This is where we've collected deposits for all of our, called the caviar crowd, the country club of Formula One, where those packages are often going. So the average value for a 3-day pass for that is $10,000. So this is where our entire menu of races is releasing for those packages. Typically for like the fan packages, the lower tier packages, those are on sale the day after the race for the next year. So for the 2025 events, we go on sale the following Monday. So that's one thing that takes a little pressure off, I would say, is also acknowledging the fact that we have a 52-week sales cycle. Obviously, yeah, we want to sell out as quickly as possible, but it's like we have a long window to sell. But knowing that, yeah, we have all these deposits being redeemed for next week. There's several hundred for each race. So it's just a lot of planning. I'm sure a lot of you guys here, I mean, just knowing your lifestyles, knowing the other people personally that are in the military, there's a lot of planning that goes into any plan that's being executed, whether it's physical, on paper, digital, whatever it might be. Of course, there's always the saying of everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, but it's having those contingency plans. It's knowing that something is going to go off and just like, all right, let me just ride the wave of it, and acknowledging how big of a problem it is and just understanding it. I mean, having kids, I think, helps that. First time you see your kid face plant on the ground, it's like, oh my God, you're losing your head. And then it's like, all right, he's tough. He can handle this. It happens again and again and again. But all I have to say, like within the business side of things, I mean, we have some guests that absolutely lose their mind, and it's raining. I need a refund. I'm never coming back to you guys again. It's like, well, you can't control the weather. So it's part of it as well, knowing what you can control versus what you can't, and just being able to address that. But I think, yeah, taking it back a step, planning is important. You guys might have picked up on it. I like all these little one-liners. They help me keep me sane. But it's that idea of, I believe it was Abraham Lincoln said this, of, you give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'm taking the first 5 hours to sharpen my axe. Just getting ready, because that things are going to get messy when you start up. So getting ready.
Yeah, 100% for all the veterans that are in this call right now, almost 500 of them that I know thrive in fast-paced and mission-driven settings, which sounds like what Quint is. Are there any roles or opportunities that they would be a great fit for within the company?
Very likely. I mean, I can post out. I'm not sure the best way to get like our job board out there. I know we had, after our conversation, and now it's getting things on Seven Eagles, now sitting with our HR team, which is awesome. I'm checking with them every day. But as far as that, I mean, I can pull it up pretty quickly. I'll share it in the chat actually as well. Just our board there. Right now, we don't have any sales positions open in the US. From what I last remember, because I'm the person that hires everybody here. But with this, I mean, yeah, these are ones that I guess that would be the other side of things as well. Like, kind of going back to my point around, you don't need to know the industry very well for a lot of things. But you need to understand the role and what's going to go into it. So I say that because typically we're looking for people who are very sport focused. But and what I mean by that is there's a lot of trying to think. It's like there's like a lot of sports hospitality programs as it's becoming a more popular industry. All the I mean, I think about all the like the crazy tech. Like, so we also another big partnership of ours is with the NBA. Our VP was out in LA getting ready for the NBA All-Star program that we put on. And he said that I've never been to the Intuit Dome, where I think the Lakers play. But apparently like the tech within every seat, every, the board and everything, like you got your chargers, you got sound level checkers and everything. So now like there is a whole college program designed, across like major universities that's just sport focused, sports hospitality focused and sports management focused, all that. So I share all that to say like you don't need that to break into the industry if that's something that you want to do. You might be, just looking at some of the roles here. Vendor setup specialist, it looks like pretty much like anything that's like specialist is usually like an entry level role. That's probably, and I would say, a lot of these are geared more towards like entry level type roles. But the biggest thing is just looking through each individual. It looks like between like operations, marketing, human resources, ticketing, product development, things like that. Just looking at the role itself and removing the industry specific things and saying, okay, like, do I see myself doing this in a role? Like say like I'll take our creative manager. If you've never worked in sports but you've done creative for, I don't know, body body shops, just thinking about random industries, law firms, dental practices, anything, colleges, anything like that. Like if you have that, it's like, hey, let me take that portfolio, let me tweak it a little bit, or maybe even like going through the creative process to create some templates where I'm adding that into my my CV that I'm passing along to Quint when I apply. Some of these are extremely specific. I mean, program director, MBA experiences, like need somebody that's probably worked within the MBA or worked at an MBA team previously. So might be tough on that side. But I would say anything that's not like program specific, which is most of these, is wide open. And I can say with these, I think within operations, you're traveling a lot, a lot. You're probably on site at an event 20 weekends out of the year. And when I say weekends, that is usually like a Tuesday through the following Monday, because the event's happening on a weekend. It's either 3-4 day event that's going on. So you're there for a couple of days before, and then the teardown of it as well. Hopefully that answers your question of sorts.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I do see a hand up there.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask because I know that all of our veterans they have these skills to thrive in these positions. They might not have the experience that anyone's specifically looking for, but I absolutely know that all of us in here have the skills to just kill any of those positions.
100%. Yeah, I guess on that note, real quick, I think I said this in the last group that I spoke with, but as a hiring manager, I look for anyone that's played, college sports, but military experience. And I say that because I know you guys have some, and I'm gonna cuss, but I know you guys have done some hard shit. I know you guys have been through, some very physical difficulties, and you've overcome those, and you came out, you're alive, you're here on the back end of it all, and you've done some very mentally challenging things. You've probably moved around a bit as well. I mean, you've been through some very tough things. So I know that 99% for, confidence that you have some solid fortitude there. So I see a resume come in that comes in again, even college sports, or I'm sorry, I should say even like high school sports, really that's on a resume. But college sports are, military, like you guys are getting a phone call, you're getting an entry level interview 99.9 times out of 100.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll get to the questions. Some hands are up. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Nick, how's it going? My name is Chris, superhuman athlete here. Played lots of sports, really 5 different sports is where, that I played mostly in high school. I did track, cross country, soccer, basketball, and football. I also played semi-pro football as well while I was in the military in England and in Colorado.
Okay, so
offensive
you are a
tackle, middle
force to
linebacker.
be reckoned.
I'm not as athletic as I was anymore from all the injuries. I'm kind of hurting. I'm 39 now, so I feel all of that. But I'm very passionate about sports. Um, all sports. I watch everything. So, in fact, the NFL has frustrated me with how many subscription services I have to watch all the games now.
Right? I hear
But
you.
my question is, I'm looking for a remote position, primarily because my wife is active duty Army. So I'm transitioning out of the Air Force, but she's still got about 7.5 years, and so she's going to be moving around and stuff with her career, and I don't want to have to keep switching jobs every time she moves. And so I'm looking for something that doesn't have a whole lot of travel. I don't mind traveling. I just want to know, what kind of opportunities like that do you have that maybe don't require a lot of travel, and do you have any of the positions like that available?
Sure. Tough to say on that one. But I with the way that the culture is here, usually we want people full time uh, in our world when working in office, um, more connection on stable.
The audio again. I don't know if you can hear me. Maybe pop off your video again.
I hear you. There we go.
There we go. We can hear you now.
That yeah, yeah. Where we do require basically everyone to be in the office, even the people that are traveling all over. They get a little leniency, obviously, to rest from these longer trips, especially international ones. But yeah, basically everyone is required to be in the office full time. So we might not be a perfect fit, but I'd be happy to, if you send me a LinkedIn invitation, let's connect, send me over your resume, and let's have a conversation. Let's talk.
Yeah, do you have anything in like near, like in Florida at all?
We don't. Our global headquarters is here in Charlotte, and then we have offices in the UK, Monaco, Australia, which is the single US office here.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But let's connect. Let's doors not closed.
Thanks, Nick. We really appreciate you helping. Even though someone might not be the perfect fit, you might be able to get him somewhere where he wouldn't have been able to get before. So
Absolutely. And I can say, I mean, every no, and this goes for sales and the hiring process, both of them. Every no is a not yet. It's something might work out in the future. The door is never closed. So
yeah.
that's why I say let's connect. Send me your resumes. And it might be a not yet. At the same time, I know a lot of people around the area that are back in the tech world that are far more remote friendly. Might be able to introduce you to somebody.
Appreciate that, Nick. Ashley, go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good, happy afternoon to you from Texas here. I just wanted to say I love Monaco. I think the last time I visited there, I was 20, but that place is beautiful. What do you do in Monaco?
I've actually personally never been, but it's the Monaco GP, the F1 race that's held there every year. It's kind of it's definitely one of the bigger ones of on the race calendar. It's a street race. It's usually, I would say, the fans will, I don't know if it's necessarily a complaint, but they have the understanding that it's such a small, or I should say thin, thin traditional track,
Right.
that there's not a lot of action from the race itself. So it's mostly about the see and be seen. I mean, that whole bay fills up with yachts and super yachts and all that good stuff. There's a ton of parties. But we actually strategically purchased an office there right along the track itself, that we turn into a suite for our guests. So it's basically just an office. So we set up a couple of desks for 51 weeks out of the year. And then on, race week, clear everything out, turn into a very luxurious hospitality suite.
Oh, nice. So as far as your roles stay over, like, say, for example, there in Monaco, what kind, do you have like administrative roles, or because I'm not a sports person. All I did through high school and college was cheerleading. I call that a sport. I love cheerleading.
It's definitely a sport. I've seen some terrible falls in it, and it takes a lot of
Exactly.
athleticism. So
Exactly.
I
And
get
that was
it.
the base. Exactly. That's what my back hurt now. But I'm saying it was the military. But yeah, what kind of roles would your company have as far as like over there? Like, do you have administrative roles or management roles or?
That's a very good question. So we own a subsidiary over there. It's called Monaco Star Events. I'll drop this in the chat for everybody. So, how we do our business with them, that's where I know you guys can't see me. I'm doing my quote unquote offices are over. It's a pretty small team. And that's something where they really just do this company is focused literally just on that Monaco race. So they have some of their own packages, and then through kind of a like part of and we have our own. And we also do let's see, done the plan work for the upcoming it's called and this is for like the super wealthy. But basically you have your own car, a supercar.
Oh wow. Yeah, you're
11
breaking up a little
day
bit. I hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so you go on basically an 11-day tour of France in your supercar that's guided, and then you stay at a couple hotels along the way.
I would love that, sir. I would love that. No, thank you for sharing that because I love Monaco. That's a beautiful place. I'm actually going to look in that and send you my resume as well because I don't know what the future holds for me. But I also wanted to tell you thank you for what you shared. I had just got off a call with something called ACP Mentor, and you had shared about like sometimes in life you may just want to step back and not jump out running. And I've always been a runner and high performer and things like that. And in this phase of my life, like I literally told my mentor today, she was like, yeah, you have your degrees and all this stuff. And then you left the medical field, you joined the military. I basically told her like, yeah, I don't want to get out the military doing that. Like my focus is going to be going to school next year, but I do want to do something part-time. Like I used to be into things for the money, you know? And at this point in my life, I'm like willing to like take people to medical appointments and have some peace. And, you know, I'm going to be a social worker in the future, but I just told myself today, like, you know, I'm going to focus on caring for others because that's kind of in my role anyways of being a social worker. And thank you for sharing that. I'm like, I just talked to her about that.
Yeah, gladly. I mean, that's something where, and this is one of the reasons why I'm on the call today. I strongly believe in just helping the people around you.
Right.
By no means would I credit myself with doing any types of like, you know, social work or anything like that. But man, like if you help people, you help the people around you, good things are going to happen in life.
Right. Thank you, sir. Well, you're a blessing. I'm gonna look into that Monaco stuff too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nick. You really get what you give into the community. So
100%.
we really appreciate it. If anybody wants to see any of those jobs open in Quint, just head to that website and go check them out. Anthony?
So, hey, yeah, I had a question. Are you willing to do any of these programs for like OJT, SkillBridge?
I would have to look into more exactly what that is. But probably. Exactly.
Yeah, so
I'm familiar with
SkillBridge
SkillBridge.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm trying to I'm like 30 minutes away from the Charlotte area and definitely really interested in doing like any type of event work. I saw on the website there's like some stuff like to learn either about event setup or marketing. I have a marketing degree right now, so it'd be awesome just to get in there and get some experience.
No, absolutely. Yeah, if you have along those lines of marketing, I know we're always looking for great people. I know that we hired a director of marketing maybe about a month or so ago, and she was not within the sports world by any means. And she's a director of marketing. So yeah, man, send me your information, Anthony. And yeah, let's connect. I think that's actually, I just Googled SkillBridge, had maybe a senior moment here at 40 years old.
We'll brief you on all that, Kylie, Nick, after. Don't worry about that. Yeah, go ahead. Thanks,
Kylie had sent over that information. So yeah, we're working through. That's what I have over my HR team's hands as far as how we can make that work and how we can make that work internally with us, and then link everybody together.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll send you my stuff and look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony, and thank you, Nick. You are so kind. This is amazing. Israel, go ahead.
I'm not hearing anything.
I can't hear you
Is anyone
yet.
else? It's not me this time.
Hi, my name is Israel. I have a really nice beard. I'm trying to figure out my mic right now. No, this is good. Just messing with Israel.
All
Who's
good. We
doing
can hear you
that?
now.
That's good stuff. The ventriloquist. We'll give him a minute. Just kick it, Israel. Doesn't work. All right. Well,
Okay. Well,
we'll
Nick, I have one more question. So Israel, just speak up. Stop me whenever your mic starts working again, and you can absolutely go ahead and ask your question. I just wanted to know what your one last piece of advice would be for everybody in this room, something that you think that they might need to hear in this crazy time in all of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, to boil it all down, man, you guys you're better than you think you are. You're just always reach. I think about the idea of when I was going through the recruiting process in high school to play college lacrosse. Basically, my coach at the time, he's a mentor of sorts, told me like lacrosse will get you into one better school than just what your pure academics will. So I encourage you guys. I think about that idea of like your network will get you into one better job than if you just applied on your own. So not to say that you need to know somebody within that company, but build relationships. And if you think that you're not qualified for a job, F that, apply. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just go after it. You never know what great things are going to happen from it. And if nothing else, you're introducing yourself to the company as somebody that's going to reach out for things. And when I say apply, don't just do the quick apply on LinkedIn. Like, yeah, you can maybe use that as a start, but send a follow-up email to the hiring director, hiring manager. Send them a LinkedIn message. Send them an email. Again, I'm still working on getting set up in the 7 Eagle portfolio. So I'm not sure if you guys can communicate with hiring people there, but do all of those extra little things. Go into the website. When you go to people's LinkedIn profile, the hiring manager, find those random things that they're into. The school that they went to, what hobbies they might have. I would say be a little careful with this, but get a little weird with it. Maybe look at LinkedIn, or I'm sorry, not LinkedIn, but Facebook, and see, hey, can you pick up on any extra hobbies that might be not on LinkedIn? And delicately drop that as a nugget. I mean, please don't go and just like straight up, stalk people, but try to find those little public indicators of hobbies that they're into. Their Facebook profile has them wearing a Red Sox hat. Depending on how you feel about the Red Sox, dropping a note about it of, hey, I was in Boston 3 years ago and I had a great time walking down Fenway, whatever it might be, just those little allusions to like the way that you can get that human connection. That way you're not just a name and a resume, just on paper, create that human connection the best way that you can. So maybe twofold, reach way beyond, don't be shy about reaching way beyond anything that you think you might be qualified for. And number two, make that human connection.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely agree. Israel didn't have a question, but he put his in the chat. He said he was just going to say that he thought this was great information and was wondering about if there's any discrimination against Ferrari fans since they're doing so bad.
No. Well, first of all, like, thank you all. I mean, this is an awesome opportunity. I get hyped for it. I actually get pretty nervous for it. I'm sitting here 10 minutes before the meeting, like reviewing my notes and just like, oh man, what am I going to say to these guys? How is this going to go? So, I mean, also take that as a piece of advice going into interviews and things. I get a little nervous before some interviews. Might be talking to some 22-year-old kid just coming out of college, and it's like I still get a little adrenaline rush from that. But yeah, guys. Yeah, Ferrari's Ferrari. I'm a Ferrari fan, so I'm Italian, so
No, you made my job so easy today because you just came on here and you told your story and you put some amazing knowledge in here that I think we all needed to hear. So I really enjoyed just sitting back and almost kind of listening to you today through the technical difficulties. So yeah,
I'm gonna
Nick,
show
that
the
was
video one
awesome.
more time here as I sign off.
There we go,
there you
man.
go.
Dude, that was awesome, man.
I
Thank
love
you
Italy.
again. I love I love hearing you. I love hearing you tell your story. Kylie, you did amazing emceeing. Anyone who's in Charlotte who wants to go roll around on the mats and jiu-jitsu, I'm sure he'd love to
Yeah.
have you. What's the name of your gym
Yeah.
again?
Yep. Fight to Win Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, also known as Hoist Gracie Charlotte. Kind of like a dual name, if you will. I guess, yeah, we didn't really cover a lot of that today, but
Yeah.
anyways, make sure that's another maybe piece of
That's
advice.
next
Just make sure you
time,
have your
maybe.
hobbies. Yeah, make
Yeah.
sure you have your hobbies
Absolutely.
outside. Keeps you active. But man,
Absolutely.
this is so awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me.
You got it, buddy.
I
Thank
love
you.
this.
You were amazing. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right.
We can't wait
Thanks,
to have you
guys.
on next time. Bye.
Take
Have a
care.
great
Thank you very
day.
much. Have a great rest of the